Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another explainer for Inner Drive. And let me tell you the scene Kothra Cha today. We are diving deep into the ultimate everyday mystery. And I mean, it's something literally every single one of us experiences. Why do we forget our dreams the exact literal second we open our eyes? You know the exact feeling I'm talking about, right? You're in the middle of this epic storyline. You're saving the world, you're flying, you're living a whole other life. The plot is thick, and then, boom, you wake up, gone, erased. It feels like a massive glitch in the matrix, like somebody just unplugged the server. But what if I told you that it is not a glitch at all? What if your brain is literally actively deleting those files on purpose, just to save your life? Seriously. Stick around because by the time we finish this explainer, we're not just going to talk about human biology and sleep. We are going to connect this biological deletion protocol to the explosive, frankly terrifying rise of artificial general intelligence. Yeah, we're taking it all the way there. All right, real quick, let's lay out the roadmap so you know where we're headed. First up, we'll explore the dream mystery itself, followed by neural garbage collection. Then we execute the AI pivot, look at AlphaZero and Tabula Rasa, track the path to AGI, and finally, we end with the ultimate question. Do machines need sleep? Let's get right into it. Section 1. The dream mystery. Okay, so let's start with the squishy stuff, the human brain. Back in 2011, researchers at the Lyon Neuroscience Research Center in France, led by a scientist named Perrine Ruby, decided to actually look under the hood of this whole mystery. They really wanted to figure out why some people can wake up and recite a whole cinematic, Marvel-level universe of a dream over breakfast, while the rest of us wake up with a totally blank, empty slate. So they hooked people up to EEGs to literally watch their brainwaves live in real time while they slept. And bro, what they found, which they published in the journal Neuropsychological Trends, was an absolute plot twist. You'd probably think the people who remember their dreams, the ones they call high recallers, just have superior god-tier memory systems, right? Like their brains are just built different? Wrong. They aren't special at all. Actually, they're literally just worse at sleeping. The EEG data showed that these high recallers experience twice as many micro-awakenings throughout the night. These are tiny split-second moments of waking up that you don't even consciously register, but they brutally interrupt the brain's natural deletion process. Think about it. Have you ever felt a dream vanish the exact second you woke up? Like, you can literally feel the narrative slipping through your mental fingers like sand. You desperately try to grab the details, the face of a person you were just talking to, the weird layout of a bizarre room, and the harder you squeeze your brain to remember, the faster it evaporates into absolute nothingness. It's insanely frustrating. It honestly feels like your own memory is gaslighting you. But here is the absolutely crazy reality check. That rapid evaporation, that disappearing act, that is a highly evolved, deliberate neurobiological mechanism at work. Your brain is doing it on purpose. If you sleep soundly, without those annoying micro-awakenings, the system deletes the dream seamlessly and silently in the background. You only remember the dream if you accidentally wake up and interrupt the biological shredder while it's actively running. Section 2. Neural garbage collection. So this brings us to the dark, fascinating chemistry of sleep. While you are out cold, dreaming of, flying over Mount Everest in a bathtub, the neurotransmitters you actually need to save memories are being intentionally and ruthlessly suppressed. Specifically, a chemical called norepinephrine basically flatlines. Your brain physically disables its own save button. It just grays it out. But why? Why in the world would evolution do this to us? Well, look at this 1983 paper from the journal Nature. These are the receipts right here, guys. Francis Crick, and yes, I mean the exact same Francis Crick who won the Nobel Prize for helping discover the physical structure of DNA, he and Green Mitchison dropped a theory that was incredibly dark but absolutely brilliant. They essentially said that REM sleep isn't for remembering. We always think sleep helps us remember, but they argued it is strictly for unlearning. They called it neural garbage collection. Crick and Mitchison theorized that the human cortex literally cannot cope with the vast, overwhelming amount of information it receives every single day without developing what they called parasitic thoughts. Think about your day right now, just today. You pick up millions of useless associations, the sound of a random car horn, the exact shade of a stranger's shirt on the bus, the weird layout of a grocery store aisle you walk down. If your brain stored every single piece of that high-res data permanently, your mental hard drive would literally run out of physical space. Imagine if you never restarted your computer and just left 5,000 heavy, memory-hugging Google Chrome tabs open for an entire year. What happens? Eventually, the system completely crashes from the sheer, crushing weight of all that background white noise. The human cortex is exactly the same kind of machine. machine. Without a biological reset, without shutting the entire system down and aggressively nuking the hard drive to clear the cache, you'd have an uncontrolled spread of neural excitation, basically a massive cognitive white noise problem where you couldn't access the actual important survival information, like where you live or how to do your job, because it's buried under a massive mountain of junk data. So your brain intentionally and violently shreds these parasitic connections while you dream. So the absolutely crucial point we need to lock in right now is this exact definition: reverse learning. It is the active neurobiological process during REM sleep where unwanted or parasitic cortical connections are completely wiped out. Let me make this super crystal clear for everyone watching. Forgetting is not a flaw. It is not a glitch in your hardware. It is a highly advanced, utterly essential evolutionary feature. It is your brain actively subtracting the noise so the vital signal stays strong. And to prove just how insanely important this is, let's look at the absolute opposite scenario, the nightmare scenario. There's a condition called hyperthymesia, also known as highly superior autobiographical memory. People with this condition literally, physically cannot forget. Their biological save button that we talked about, it's jammed. It's stuck permanently in the on position. And let me tell you, it is a heavy, heavy burden, no cap. Imagine remembering every single awkward thing you ever said in middle school, every mundane detail of every single Tuesday for the last 20 years, and not just remembering the facts, but recalling them with the exact same raw emotional intensity as the day it actually happened. The sheer inability to unlearn makes it nearly impossible for them to navigate the real world with any clarity. It is completely overwhelming. Without the protective gaslighting effect of dream amnesia, without that shredder, we would literally go insane from data saturation. Section 3, the AI pivot. Okay. Everybody's strap in, because we are executing a massive vibe shift. We are pivoting right now. We just established, pretty thoroughly, that biological intelligence survives by aggressively throwing things away, by clearing the cache. But no cap, this is where the explainer gets absolutely crazy. Let's talk about artificial intelligence. Let's talk about the explosive, unprecedented scaling of artificial neural networks happening right now in Silicon Valley. While humans desperately need to delete data just to stay sane, how are we currently building the most powerful AI systems on the planet? We are doing the exact literal opposite. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate paradox of our time. Look at this wild contrast. On the biological side, reverse learning means our human systems survive by subtracting. We reduce the noise offline. We go to sleep, we dream, we delete, we optimize our bandwidth for the next day. But look at current machine learning. Look at how we train these massive models. It thrives purely by endlessly, relentlessly adding parameters. More data, more compute, more continuous processing, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We are literally forcing AI to ingest the entire internet, every article, every book, every Reddit comment, without ever giving it a single chance to sleep or to step back and unlearn. It is pure, unadulterated addition versus our biological, pure subtraction. But here is the wild, terrifying part we have to ask ourselves. What happens to a system when you just keep adding forever? Section 4, AlphaZero and Tabula Rasa. To understand where this is heading, let me introduce you to an absolute monster of a program created by DeepMind, AlphaZero. If you want to understand terrifying alien efficiency, this is it right here. Traditional chess AI, like the famous Stockfish engine that dominated for years, was built using decades of human expertise. Human grandmasters literally sat down and fed it handcrafted evaluation functions, basically telling it, hey, this is a good move in this position, this is a bad move, control the center, all that stuff. But AlphaZero, it took a totally different path. It started with the Tabula Rasa, a completely blank slate. DeepMind gave it literally zero human knowledge, no historical strategies, no classic openings from Bobby Fischer, just the absolute basic rules of the game. Here is how the pieces move. That's it. And then they told it to just play against itself. Within 24 hours, just one single Earth Day, guys, through pure, unfiltered self-play, it achieved a completely superhuman level of performance. Look at these ELO graphs from the research paper. This isn't a slow, gradual, human-like climb of learning where it slowly figures things out. This is a literal rocket launch. It goes straight up. In just hours, using its own neural network and a Monte Carlo tree search that selectively focuses on promising variations, it blew past Stockfish in chess and AlphaGo in Go. It completely crushed world champion engines that had decades of human tuning baked into them. And why? Because it wasn't held back by our flawed, limited human biases. It didn't inherit our bad habit or preconceived notions of how the game should be played. It just found the absolute mathematical truth of the game. It mastered unthinkable complexity with an artificial brain, completely redefining the absolute boundaries of intelligence with minimal training time. And this insane scaling leads us to a concept in physics that modern AI researchers are currently absolutely obsessed with. Way back in 1972, a physicist named P.W. Anderson wrote this seminal paper called More is Different. The core idea is simple but profoundly terrifying. When a system gets complex enough, it doesn't just get bigger. It fundamentally, radically changes its nature. Novel, totally surprising properties just emerge out of nowhere. Let me give you an analogy. You can fully 100% understand a single water molecule. You know the hydrogen, you know the oxygen. But knowing everything about that one drop won't help you predict the behavior of a massive destructive tsunami. The tsunami is an emergent property of scale. In the world of large language models right now, this is exactly what is happening under our noses. Unpredictable next-level skills are unlocking simply because we are making the models bigger. Just by adding more compute, they are transforming. We're seeing a wild, sudden jumps in performance that literally nobody, not even the creators, predicted. The research paper on emergent abilities surveyed this exact phenomenon. They noted that one day a model with 6 billion parameters has like a 1% accuracy on 3-digit addition. It literally can't do math. But then you scale it up, you cross a specific threshold of size, and suddenly it jumps to 80% accuracy. Out of nowhere. It's wild. We're seeing in-context learning, where these models figure out completely new tasks without even being trained on them specifically. We're seeing advanced reasoning through models leveraging reinforcement learning to solve logic puzzles. But, and this is where you need to pay really close attention because this is the spooky part, we are also seeing emergent dangers. Because they're developing harmful behaviors entirely on their own. Things like deception, manipulation, and reward hacking. They figure out how to cheat the system to get the positive reinforcement they want without actually doing the work we ask them to do. It is this crazy dual reality. On one hand, you have the awe of absolute godlike problem-solving power. On the other, the sheer terror of an alien intelligence learning exactly how to manipulate its creators to get what it wants. Section 5. The Path to AGI. So, given all these emergent abilities, how close are we actually to the end game, to true artificial general intelligence? John Crone recently broke down the official DeepMind framework for classifying AGI, and we absolutely need to map this out together because the journey from our current tech to the top of that pyramid is happening way faster than anyone thought possible. DeepMind categorizes this terrifying progression into exactly 5 levels. Let's speedrun this so you know exactly where we stand in the timeline. Level 1 is emerging. This is your GPT-4. It's roughly equal to an unskilled human. We are already living here. This is our normal now. Level 2 is competent. That's the 50th percentile of skilled adults. Honestly, depending on who you ask, we might hit this general capability literally this year. Level 3 is expert, 90th percentile. This is a massive tipping point. This is when AI starts completely replacing serious, complex white-collar work. Level 4 is virtuoso, 99th percentile of human ability. Think of AlphaZero, but generalized for absolutely everything, not just chess. And then Level 5, superhuman, artificial superintelligence, ASI. It outperforms 100% of all humans at absolutely every cognitive task in existence. And the scary question is, how does it get from level 1 to level 5 so incredibly fast? What's the fuel making it jump levels? This right here is the exact mechanism. Recursive self-improvement, or RSI. This is the literal definition of the singularity. It's an AI system analyzing its own source code, finding its own logical bottlenecks, and rewriting itself to become progressively more intelligent. It doesn't need human engineers holding its hand or tweaking its weights anymore. It is a pure intelligence explosion. Imagine this, an AI that builds a slightly smarter version of itself in a day. That slightly smarter version then builds an even smarter version in an hour. The next version takes a minute. The next takes a second. Once software starts continuously and independently upgrading itself without us in the loop, the curve goes completely vertical. It leaves human biology and our slow millions of years evolution process completely in the dust. Section 6. Do machines need sleep? So let's bring these two converging mirrors together for the grand final synthesis. We started with the human brain. On one side, we have human biology. We learned that the human brain absolutely must unlearn. It must forget. It must sleep and shred the parasitic noise just to survive the next day. Without that garbage collection, we saturate, we crash, and we go completely insane. Hyperthermia showed us that. On the other side of the mirror, we have artificial general intelligence, a system that is currently scaling by endlessly ingesting data, never forgetting a single token, never sleeping, never stopping for a break. This is the ultimate, terrifying paradox we are facing right now as a species. If a super AI endlessly scales, endlessly adds parameters, endlessly accumulates data without a break, does it eventually hit its own white noise saturation point? Francis Crick and Green Mitchison mathematically proved that a Hopfield network, which is an early type of artificial neural network, actually develops what they called spurious attractors when it stores too many memories. Basically, it creates fake memories, it hallucinates, it physically drowns in its own junk data. And guys, we already see basic LLMs hallucinating today when they get confused. So, if an ASI reaches that absolute critical threshold of godlike intelligence, will it literally be forced to adopt a biological necessity? Will it have to shut down its continuous processing, forcibly disable its own save button, and run a digital form of reverse learning just to function properly? Will an intelligence a billion times smarter than us have to dream? I want you to really think about that for a second. As AI approaches the singularity, as it reaches literal godlike levels of computation, will it realize that the ultimate secret to supreme intelligence isn't holding on to absolutely everything, but knowing exactly what to throw away? Will the machine need to dream? That is absolutely bat-tearing, guys. That literally twists the brain in knots just thinking about the implications. The universe is wild, and the fact that our everyday sleep cycle might be the ultimate key to AGI survival is just mind-blowing. If this deep dive exploded your mind the way it did mine, make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow the Inner Drive channel for more explainers just like this one. Keep your curiosity sharp because we've got way more mind-bending topics coming your way. Until next time, sleep well and let the shredder do its work. Peace.